Hello and welcome to my first no bezel project. So no pre-made bezel, and I'm not making my own bezel. It's also my first time using flowers in my jewellery. I've taken inspiration from numerous channels for this and I can't remember them all, but I am going to credit one of them because the main inspiration came from this channel and the most recent inspiration came from this channel. So I've been watching this style of jewellery making for quite a while now, but this new creator popped up in my feed, and at the time that I subbed to him, which was only a couple of months ago, he had less than 100 subscribers. I know it was in double figures, the number of subscribers he has, and in that couple of months he's grown to about, I think, 700 or 800 subs now, so he is doing well. So I do want to credit him because he gave me the most recent inspiration. I'd kind of forgotten about this style of project until I saw his recent video, and also just to give his channel a boost, and I will link it in the description. So far I have made some hearts. I didn't fill the mould because I don't want them that thick, and I'm not concerned about having a lip around them because of the top coating that I'm going to do. So I just made some fairly thin. With hindsight now, I need to get better at making thinner layers because these end up very chunky, but that's something I can work on. So I've made what I considered to be some thin hearts with clear hard type UV resin, putting some flowers in, and then I will top coat and dome them. These flowers end up being too pale for my liking, so I make some more in a different colour. Alright, so next I'm going to make some coloured hearts using my Aurora powders from Temu. I have checked in my last video, I said I think they're called Auroras. I have checked and they are. So again, doing them in small layers, especially because I've added colour to them this time. And those extra clear hearts are because this is the point where I change my flower colours. This time I am keeping my hearts in the mould while I add the flowers, so that when I put more resin on top of them, it keeps the clean sides. What I realised when I did the first flowers was putting the resin on top of the flowers out of the mould, you're doming it straight away, but then you could still have bits of flower sticking out. So I needed to keep the clean shape, the clean sides for the resin on the flower layer. At that point you might still have bits of flower sticking out, but then you can dome them. Now I'm going to mix up some purple and pink to make a new shade. I can't remember why now. I can only assume that I wanted a new shade, that the pink and purple were too strong and I wanted something in the middle. Just checking the first layer has cured before I move on to putting an extra layer on. I want them to be the same thickness as the clear hearts with the flowers in. So I demoulded them, measured them up against the flower ones, decided they're still not quite thick enough, and therefore put them back in the mould to put another thin layer on. I end up making quite a lot of pieces because I can't decide on what colour scheme I want, and so there is a lot of this going back and forth with demoulding hearts, measuring them up against the flower ones, putting back in the mould and topping up. So I do end up making quite a lot of hearts, and there's a lot of back and forth topping up activity. So I'll jump ahead to where we have got all of the hearts that I want. Except I'll just show you this other colour I made. That's one of my Aurora powders as well, which has got a very slight hint of pink in it. So now I've decided to make some more hearts with flowers in, because I've decided to make a pair of earrings as well. These won't match the pendant because they would be too big for earrings then, so just the flower element of the pendant will be carried through to the earrings. However, the earrings will have a slight additional element to them, a little bit of gold leaf top coated onto them or back coated onto them. There will be the gold leaf side will be the back side. Okay, so this is why I made too many hearts. I couldn't decide on the colour scheme. I couldn't decide whether it was going to be 3 purpley colours with 1 flower or 3 of the creamy colours with 1 flower. I think that channel that I linked, from memory, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he did 2 flower ones opposite each other and then 1 of each colour on the other side, on each side. But I just couldn't decide. So I've ended up making 2 pendants, one with the 2 purples and one with the 2 creams. And here I'm deciding how to attach them. I obviously toy with the idea of putting wire between them and then gluing each side of the wire, because also I'm going to put some diamante strips in between the hearts. So I thought that the wire would give me that extra bit of gap to place the diamantes onto, to be able to place them a bit flatter. But I obviously decide against putting the wire in between. As you will probably be able to tell here, I do have difficulty getting them to sit straight because of the doming on the hearts. And I am going to want your opinion. Who thinks that these would have looked better without the diamonds in between the hearts? If you don't like the diamonds in between the hearts, do you think they look better and perfectly fine without anything on, like on the left now? Or would you still want to bling them up with 1 or 2 strategically placed diamonds? Let me know in the comments, please. Perhaps rather than the diamantes, I could have just placed 1 or 2 small rhinestones.
Little hearts laid out in a line, soft champagne and lavender shine, petals pressed in crystal clear, turning moments into something you can wear. Every sparkle, every detail, handmade love.
I'm now sticking the hearts together with a bit of UV resin brushed onto each side, only to the lower halves of the hearts that will contact each other.
Hearts and flowers, diamonds too, all the little things we choose. Shine it up, let it glow.
With regards to the diamante strips, the first UV resining them on the back was in order to make them stick together. You know, when you pick up a strip of diamantes and there is a piece of metal between them, which when you pick them up they will create a gap between them. So the first round of resining them was to make them all stick together when you pick them up, and now obviously the UV resin is to actually stick them to the piece. Now, because the diamantes are not flat against something at the back, I'm concerned that they might only be hanging on at the corners, the bottom back corners, because of the doming on the hearts. So the intention here was to just do a brushing of UV along the sides of the diamantes in order to give them an extra bit of contact with the hearts. But then I ended up doing yet another whole top coat all across the hearts. And now I'm giving the earring hearts an extra top coat. I'm starting to think that maybe I was touching them prematurely and leaving little fingerprints with the amount of top coating that I did. This is the problem with doing voiceovers, unfortunately. I would actually prefer to leave real-time talking in, but I can't time-lapse then because that distorts your voice, so my videos would end up half a day long if I did that. Sorry. Okay, now I am going to make my bail, and I'm quite inexperienced with making bails, so this is the only technique that I have learned so far, and I'm not quite happy with it because I can't get that hoop tight enough for my liking. I'd rather the end of the wire be tucked up even more, so more rounded rather than just being curved backwards and touching straight. I'm also conscious of not wanting to waste wire, which is why I'm trying to do this whilst it's still attached to the whole piece of wire. That makes it more difficult on yourself though, because it's getting pulled in directions you don't want it to get pulled in. So maybe it's worth it to potentially cut a piece off that's slightly too long rather than mess about like that. Okay, so putting some UV resin on the side which will contact the hearts, and then also trying to brush some at the side of it so it contacts at the side as well, but then end up going over the back of it. But that's fine because I'm going to back coat as well, and propping them up with cotton buds. And now back coating the whole pieces. A bit risky given that there's a hole in the middle. Can't remember if it was a problem. Now for the bails on the earrings, I'm just using jump rings. It was a little bit awkward holding them still to get the glue to catch on, but I managed eventually. Alright, now let's attach the jewellery findings. And I only made one pair of earrings because they're not colour-coded to the necklaces. So I figured you could wear the same earrings and just switch out the necklace. Okay, glamour shots coming up any moment now. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thank you. Have a good week, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye bye. If you make jewellery, check out my new collaboration playlist and my collaboration announcement video to find out how you can take part even if you don't have a YouTube channel. Thank you.
I step outside, would feel safe and known, build something beautiful on my own. If it breaks, I'll show you why. If it works, we'll both fly. I make it with heart, every part, love in the mess, love in the art. If I say I should have, you'll understand. If I can't fix it, you still learn.